Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Rural Transport Innovation Accelerator Consortium Building event. I'm hoping to have a really exciting and interesting morning with you all today, just sharing some project ideas from different organisations across the UK who are interested in seeking out partners to apply for this programme. First of all, I'm just going to run through a very quick agenda for the day. So firstly, we're going to be hearing from the Department for Transport to talk a little bit about the strategy that came behind the Rural Accelerator and the wider Rural Fund. Then we'll be hearing from my colleague at the Connected Places Catapult to talk a little bit about who we are and why we're involved in this programme. Then you'll hear from me with a very quick programme overview, just to give you some context around some of the key dates on the programme, as well as what the programme's offering to people that are successful. We'll then hear from our first session of project idea pitches. Once these are done, we'll then break out into some networking rooms and one-to-ones on the platform, which we will guide you through how to do that later on in the day. After that half-an-hour session, we'll then come back to the main stage just to hear some more project ideas that are seeking partners. And then once that's wrapped up at 12:15, you'll hear from me with some closing remarks, and then we'll spend the last 40 minutes of the event back in our networking rooms and having one-to-ones with those that we feel are most relevant and could potentially form partners for our project ideas. First of all, I'm just going to hand over now to Michael Power, who is the Head of Future Transport Strategy at the Department for Transport.
Thank you, Jasmine, and good morning, everyone. So as Jasmine said, I'm Michael Power. I work in the Future Transport part of the Department for Transport. So looking at all of the innovative new technologies and services that are coming into the market and seeing how we can best make use of them to achieve some of our more strategic objectives. So I've been working for the last sort of year or so on developing some rural innovation guidance, formerly known as the Future Transport Rural Strategy. I'm sure there's people on the call who have contributed to that in some way. So we recently got that guidance out into the world after some small delays, and so that published in November, and we made some commitments in there to make some funding available as well. Part of that funding is here, which the CPC are helping us deliver, and part of it is as part of a ring-fenced rural fund in the Decarbonisation Demonstrators Fund, which launched in 2023. So firstly, just before kicking off, just want to thank the Connected Places Catapult. I think there's been a lot of hard work to get us to this point, especially given the tight timelines that the department and myself have asked for, and the high kind of standard of quality that we're seeing as well. And to thank everyone who's dialed in today. I think it takes a lot of time and energy to participate in these things and to pull together bids. So I hope today is helpful and makes the process a bit smoother. So as you can see on the slide, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. So we know the challenges for rural communities are really significant. We've done some consultation. We've obviously speak to stakeholders all the time, and in other parts of the department's programs, we do see significant challenges in how transport can help people get on with their lives. But we think innovation can be used alongside a range of all of those other transport solutions to help tackle some of these challenges. But we don't always have the right evidence to support innovation when we're making policy decisions or when we're thinking about funding or any other kind of expansion of programs. So competitions like this are really important for us, as are some of the other activities we've had in the department, like the Decarb Demonstrators Fund I've raised recently, but also the Rural Mobility Fund that was launched a couple of years ago to help test out demand responsive transport. So you'll see a little bit on the side. I won't talk through every bit of the slide here, but really this competition we're hoping will achieve some of those aims on the left. And CPC have done a really great job of aligning the work in the strategy to some of the challenge statements in the competition and forward. Jasmine, if we could just pop to the next slide, please. So I'm probably preaching to the choir when I talk through some of this, so I'll run through it quickly again, but these are just some of the sort of challenges I see and the department sees when we think about rural transport in particular. So I think, as I said, I think CPC has done a great job of mapping these out, the challenges and the trends out to the innovation that's required and the opportunities within the challenge statement. But I think what we've seen through the development of the strategy, through our call for evidence, is there's a genuine lack of choice when it comes to performing trips in rural areas, whether that means you have very little alternative choice or you have isolated and kind of isolated communities and isolated parts of the country where they're not able to access the services. We also know there's a major commercial challenge for operators. conventional transport that might work in other parts of the country doesn't always work in certain rural areas. And we know that kind of getting the right size and getting the right kind of level of patronage is really important, but also this provides us an opportunity to innovate in that space as well, to maybe redraw the boundaries of what rural transport might look like in terms of transformative services. I mentioned isolation. I think isolation and social interaction are really key parts of rural society, and I think we need to look for ways that innovation, particularly in transport, can help solve some of those challenges. Seen some really great stuff that we highlighted in the rural strategy, and I think this is a really good opportunity to see more of that. I think when you start to combine all of this stuff as well, the lack of choice, the commercial challenges, the societal issues, that all factors into a really tricky thing to plan, and a really tricky thing for operators to actually think about what their services should look like to be across all of those things. And I mentioned right at the start, poor access to services, whether that's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's the wider economy, that all impacts rural areas, which can have major impacts down the line in terms of quality of life. So what we're seeing through our engagements as well is new modes, new technologies, new services are all coming on board. We're seeing that in cities and towns. We saw that in our future mobility urban strategy. We also saw it in our future transport zones, which we funded a few years ago. There's lots of exciting new innovation that's coming. And we think that this could potentially provide a opportunity for rural areas to benefit or to solve some of the challenges that have previously been seen as sort of intractable. We're also seeing trends in sustainability. We've got major pushes for decarbonisation, major pushes for cleaner, greener energy, and how we get around. So I think that's a key part of this. And I can see some people in the sort of who've joined today who have got backgrounds in sustainability, so it's no surprise that that's linked up. We're also seeing changing demands. I think the last few years have seen a major shift in how we get around and what we expect from our economy. So I think that should be reflected in some of the trends here as well. And that goes hand in hand with digitalization. We live practically with phones glued to our hands now, and we expect them to be able to give us the information we need and have that to hand. And that's not always the case in rural areas where services may not have changed considerably in the last decades. So what you'll see, I won't drop through the opportunities in the same detail, but what you'll see is through the challenge statements and through some of the pitches is how all of this can come together and all of the potential solutions. We've just got some of these here. There's a lot that we could be covering. There's a lot that inevitably I think will come up in the bids, but I think these are just some of the issues we've identified and some of the ways we think this funding could potentially help rural areas and start solving some of these broader societal challenges. Jasmine, that's everything I had to say on where we are at DFT.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, Michael. We'll hand over now to Rebecca Golding, who is the Accelerator Programmes Lead at Connected Places Catapult, just to talk a little bit about who Connected Places Catapult are and what we try to achieve and deliver.
Great, thank you so much, Jazz, and welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules. As Jazz mentioned, my name's Bex, and I'm one of the team leads in the Accelerator team at Connected Places Catapult. I won't keep you too long here, and I'm sure lots of people on the call have heard of us, but I just wanted to give you a really quick overview of who we are, just in case you weren't aware of us. We're absolutely delighted to be collaborating with the DFT, long-time collaborators and friends of ours, so super excited about this programme. So what is CPC, Connected Places Catapult? We are one of 9 catapult centres in the UK. Each catapult centre specifically focuses on an area of technology, an area of growth that the UK government has really seen that by accelerating that area of growth, it's really going to drive really great impacts for the economy, both in terms of generating new jobs and revenue for UK PLC in the country. So as I mentioned, there are 9 catapults, and you've got here, it's a bit small, sorry, but underneath the map there are the different, all the different catapults in different colours. Our catapult specifically focuses on cities, transport and places, as it says there. So what we do is we work with SMEs and creators of great innovation, whether they are small businesses, they could be large businesses, entrepreneurs, whoever is creating this great stuff that is going to be launched into the industry. So that's on the supply side. And on the demand side, we are very much working with buyers and with policymakers and integrators who are going to procure and embed this new technology. We want to de-risk the process of implementing innovation into supply chain. And the third thing we do really is about creating a lovely collaborative warm space where people can come together, much as we're doing now, to form new friendships, collaborations, and really see where the common ground is in order to build something fantastic. Next slide, please, Jazz. I'm not going to talk too much about this, but this is our what we call our weave. So you can see we have many verticals and horizontals. Where we sit in the Accelerator team, we are a horizontal that kind of straddles all of our verticals. But you can see these colourful lines going vertically here. These are our different strategic sectors that we are involved in. We're very much, as I mentioned, focused on transport and places, integrated infrastructure in that kind of teal kind of colour, focuses on roads, and also critical infrastructure like water, energy, etc. We're also very connected into place leadership, homes and housing, and with a real focus on well-being. So specifically with this program, that's why it's so important and critical, is about increasing transport links for people both living in rural and visiting rural communities, because we have conducted research and have access to research that demonstrates that lack of transport options can increase poor mental health and loneliness. So we really are focusing on human-centered approach and well-being in this program. Next slide, please, Jazz. Why accelerate? Why accelerate? Indeed, why run an accelerator? I'm not going to go into all this text, but essentially we are accelerating technologies. So not only technology, running an accelerator is a fantastic structured collaborative process to accelerate technology, allowing entrepreneurs and creators of technology to have the insights, the know-how, the funding, the connections to be able to really accelerate their technology to market readiness. But it's not only about the technology, it's also about the businesses. So giving businesses the structure and the ability, the teams to be able to commercialize the technology. We are very much de-risking the prospect of procuring and embedding innovation into UK supply chain. And as I mentioned, we are providing the framework, a very structured approach to delivering this innovation by really working very, very closely with all of our partners and all of our consortiums within the accelerator and providing that very grounded framework in order to be able to do that in a structured way. Next slide, please, Jazz. Of course, we know that SMEs are very critical to our economy. Why help SMEs specifically? And it's a question we're often asked, because quite frankly, SMEs make up 99% of all firms, and they do contribute to 33% of GDP. Accelerating SMEs is the quickest way to grow the economy, and there's no doubt about it. Next slide, please, Jazz. We do have a lot of impact in our accelerator programs, which is absolutely fantastic. This slide is constantly being updated. The crucial thing here is around the investment that's been raised and the jobs that's been created. We've had a vast array of different partners. We've worked with DfT extensively, of course, but also commercial entities, policymakers, transport authorities, SMEs, really all partners, all walks of life across the ecosystem. So we're very, very delighted to be able to continue to do this great work. Next slide, please, Jazz. Oh, I'm done. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Bex. That was really insightful. And thank you again, Michael, for the context you gave into the DFT and how they're involved in the strategy and the challenges that came out of this programme. So I'm going to talk at you guys for a couple of minutes. I'm already a little bit behind, so I'll do my absolute best to try and whiz through this. Just to give some context to everyone, this isn't necessarily our full application support webinar. We have that taking place on the 12th of February. So please feel free if you have any more specific questions about the actual application process, or whether or not you're eligible or anything around the actual process of applying, please do register for that clinic. That'll be taking place, as I say, on the 12th. We have a morning clinic and an afternoon clinic. So just to clarify, this won't be going through the application process as such, but more the programme itself. So I just wanted to reiterate here very quickly what the challenge themes of this programme are. There's quite a lot of information on our opportunity page, which talks a lot around DFT strategy and kind of overall themes in regards to rural transport. But these 5 are the challenges specific to the programme that we're looking for bids from consortium applicants from. So the first challenge area is the importance of rural roads for everyday journeys. This is specifically asking, how do we improve the rural road network's climate resilience, and how do we improve the rural road network safety for accident avoidance? The second challenge area is driving towards a sustainable future. And again, this is looking specifically at how we improve sustainable connectivity between people, places and businesses in rural areas, and how can we sustainably deliver goods and services to rural communities. The third challenge theme is around enabling innovation in rural mobility. So this is looking at how can mobility solutions support reduced isolation in rural communities. And, you know, as Michael was saying, that's a kind of massive area that we're looking at. And how can mobility solutions improve access to services for rural communities? The fourth challenge area is looking more at the agricultural side. So how can we reduce the impact of agricultural vehicles on the road networks? And how can we use transport automation to benefit rural businesses and also improve rural supply chain logistics? The fifth challenge area is a little bit more open, but we're looking at both people experience and digital infrastructure as part of these challenges. So with regards to people experience, how do we build communities and enable adoption of technology within rural areas? And on the digital side, how can we harness innovation to support rural regions with insufficient or unreliable digital infrastructure? Now, I kind of speak from experience because I live in quite a rural location, and oftentimes I don't have any mobile signal. So these are sometimes the kind of issues that we have to deal with and how do we kind of overcome that with innovation? It's also something worth considering for anyone who's submitting proposals as part of this programme, that oftentimes, you know, mobile signal or data coverage is very, very poor. So it's something that you might want to think about in your proposal as how you might overcome that as part of the programme if you are using a digitally enabled solution. Just some very quick upcoming key dates, just so that you guys can get these in your head and prepare yourself for kind of between now and the induction day of the programme. So as I said earlier, Monday the 12th of February have our application support clinics, which are available for people to drop in and learn more about the application process itself and just ask us any questions as part of the FAQ in those sessions. We will also be offering some space in our London Farringdon office on the 14th of February, which is also Valentine's Day. But if you do want to take advantage of that space, we will have limited availability for collaboration rooms. So we thought this would be very useful if anybody wanted to meet with their prospective partners that they're writing their bids with in person, then please do feel free to reach out to us and book a room if you'd like to do that. Our application deadline is the 29th of February, and then we'll be working tirelessly between the 29th of February and the 7th of March to shortlist all of those applications. On the 7th of March, you will hear from us if you've been shortlisted, and then you will be invited to an assessment interview. This will take place on the 12th and 13th of March. And I just want to reiterate here, it's really important that not only the lead applicant attends that assessment interview, but also any of the partners that they're submitting their proposal with. So if you've got a local authority partner or a transport body partner as part of that, which is our eligibility criteria, it would be absolutely fantastic to have one of those representatives along at that interview also. It just means that we can also do our due diligence and make sure that the relationship and the engagement that you formed as part of the proposal is also sound. There'll be a cohort selection deliberation on the 14th of March once we've interviewed everyone, and then you'll be informed if you've been successfully selected on the 14th of March. Contracts will be issued on the 18th of March, and we will expect all contracts to be signed and returned to us by the 28th of March at the latest. So as Michael was saying, the timelines are quite tight here, but very achievable nonetheless. On the 23rd of April, we will have our programme Welcome Day, which is essentially the induction day to the programme, where all of the cohort can meet each other and we can talk more about the specifics of the programme delivery and key dates in relation to the programme calendar itself. Just a very quick slide here on some programme support. So what you can expect if you are selected to join the programme. So obviously there is funding available for up to 8 rural transport innovation projects or demonstrators. You'll also have access to bespoke mentoring that includes marketing and PR support, procurement support, and also things like investment readiness. But this is all very bespoke. So at the beginning of the programme, we will assess you based on your needs and what you're interested in, and then we provide mentoring that reflects your needs and your interests. Trial support, so again, very much important to us that in the design and delivery and evaluation phase, we can add our expertise from our internal teams, just ensuring that the trials are curated, delivered and evaluated to ensure they capture the most impact and that they're doing the most impact as possible in relation to what we're trying to achieve with this programme. And then finally, at the end of the programme in March 2025, we will have a showcase where you can showcase and feature your project and the success and impact from your project, as well as connect with kind of industry leaders and investors and government. The programme itself, obviously, as I said, would start on the 23rd of April. It's then at 10 months long, taking us up until March 2025. And you'll have 2 months at the beginning of the programme, which we're calling the trial design phase. Obviously, you've submitted a project to us, so it's not so much design from the complete blank canvas, but it's more about just making sure that we maximize the project that you've proposed in how it can deliver the most impact, and also just making sure that we refine how that's going to be delivered to make sure it delivers the most impact. You'll then have a 6-month trial delivery phase, and then once that's been delivered, you'll have a 2-month trial evaluation phase. So that's everything from me. We are running a little bit behind, so I'm just going to move on now to our first pitching session. So first of all, we're going to hear from Francesca from KTN, just talk a little bit about how she might be able to support people looking for partnerships on the programme.
Thank you so much, Jasmine, and yes, great to be here and great to meet you all virtually. I'm just going to share my my slides, so just bear with me. While we're waiting, for the technicalities, I just wanted to say that basically Innovate2K, KTN is a public organization, is part of Innovate2K, and what we do is that we connect innovators with the best partners to make their innovation happen, and as well, ensure their growth journey. So something else, that I'd like as well to point out is that, basically we can help you accessing a network of different partners, among which we have universities, we do have obviously corporates and all levels of SMEs, and as well local authorities. 1 second, should be working now. Okay. Really great, lovely. So, with no further ado, I would like as well to add that my role is basically knowledge transfer knowledge transfer manager for digital transport. So my specific basically. My expertise is very much in digital, which has Jasmine pointed out is very, very crucial in rural area to streamline transport, but also to prevent isolation in rural communities. So how I can help you today? Basically, what we do is that we create as well a consortia. So we can help you access to all our different partners. The impact that Innovate UK KTN has created throughout the years are quite impressive. So basically, just think that 60% of the introduction we have facilitated have resulted in collaboration, and we annually, on average, we create an increment of over £100 million in investment in R&D within the UK. What we cover as a transport team are different themes. So connected transport, automation, decarbonization, and accessible and inclusive transport, which, as I've just shared with you, they all have a focus also in rural transport. And then basically, other than obviously accessing you to facilitating access to consortia, we can also provide you support with funding, other funding opportunities, and with what we refer to as innovation exchange challenges. So innovation exchange challenges are competition that are tailored on the needs on businesses or local authorities, and we connect you with innovators who are going to help you to create a new solution. So it is a great opportunity as well for SMEs to refine their products and services and have access to new markets. So that's all from me, and I'll be very happy to continue our conversation, engaging conversation in the chat, and to see how I can support you to create consortium. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Thank you so much for that, Francesca. I'm just going to move on now. So the first picture we'll have for project ideas will be Dylan from CarbonBit.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Dylan Jordan. I'm from CarbonBit. So we are a multidisciplinary engineering and sustainability company. And we are working to help people live without fear of climate change, biodiversity loss, environmental degradation, or social injustice. So primarily, we are an ESG consulting firm, but we have a current stream of work, which is the production of e-methanol from a CO2 feed, which is captured from direct air capture. So we're trying to create a net neutral fuel for the hard to abate areas that we find in agriculture and in transport. A brief overview of the process itself is as follows. So we have a lot of CO2 all around us in the air, as I'm sure many of us know, and this has only grown since the Industrial Revolution. So what we do is we suck in a large amount of the ambient air that is around us, and the CO2 is actually adhered to the surface of the contactors that's inside a direct air capture unit. So this selectively captures the CO2. It allows all the oxygen, nitrogen, your NOx and your SOx gases to pass through, and then you're left with a high purity CO2 stream. This CO2 stream can then be fed into a green hydrogen feed or any hydrogen feed, but preferably a green hydrogen feed, and it will undergo some fuel synthesis. Usually this will end up in a Fischer-Tropsch process, which will then allow the production of e-methanol. So this e-methanol can then be used as a fuel for, like I said, many of the hard to abate areas. Primarily, we're kind of looking at heavy duty vehicles, shipping, anything that's freight or heavy agricultural machinery, which might not be suitable for a transition to electric fueled vehicles, kind of moving towards 2050 and beyond as we go towards net zero. So at this moment in time, we are currently at our MVP build stage. This has been quite a long process to get this right so far. So we started in February 2022 with a desktop research and development and our proof of concept, which was done in collaboration with Lancaster University, the University of Cambridge, and the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre in Blackburn with AMRC in collaboration with the University of Sheffield. So we're now underway with the MVP build, which should be completed by June 2024. Which will then allow us to further validate what what we've learned from our laboratory proof of concept. We're also doing this in collaboration with the Science and Technology Facilities Council and IBM to work on some computational chemistry and internal fluid dynamics to really start to optimize our process. This is also being built by AMRC again. So we're looking to really push through and have a commercial pilot underway by the end of 2024 and into Q1 of 2025, with an industrial design and build growth phase preceding that. So what we're looking to do is to use our patent pending direct air capture to have a cost-effective, scalable solution to some of these areas which may not be they're quite difficult to decarbonize. So as we know, there's a lot of issues with decarbonisation of the sectors, the transport sector and the agricultural sector. So we're currently at TRL 6, and we're looking to provide regional e-fuel hubs for these sectors in order to help this decarbonisation and make sure that we stay on track for our net zero goals, and help to kind of localise these e-fuel hubs to ensure that there's always a good supply whenever it's needed. So what we're kind of looking for today is some partnership and collaboration. So if this is something that is of interest to you, something you'd be able to perhaps help us with in terms of collaboration, that would be fantastic. I have all my details on my profile, and I'm sure I'll catch many of you in the breakout rooms. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. I'll speak to all of you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That was really insightful, Dylan. Just moving on now to Ganesh, who's going to talk to us about XTwinI from GeoInfoscape.
Can you see me? See my slide? Hello? Good morning. Yeah, all right. So my name is Ganesh, and I'm the founder and CEO of GeoInfoscape Limited. So we are building a solution called Extended TwinI, which allows to stream data, connect with people, and allow civilians to earn money wherever they are, right? So basically what we are trying to solve the problem is, at the moment, the transport industry is facing a system network challenges. So what is a system network challenge means for people, you know? As you can see on the slide, planet Earth is full of spatial objects, right? So it's full of spatial objects, and we are deeply associated with it on a day-to-day basis, and it generates data. Let's take an example of Bob, where Bob, we wanted to understand how often Bob makes a trip to work and what is his mode of travel to catch up a train or airplane. When does Bob or Lily do shopping over the weekend or during the day? What type of hazards does Dan or Lily can collect, end up seeing on the road, such as fixing potholes, weather stream data related to weather conditions on the road, things like that. Where does Bob, Lily, and Dan lives, and how frequently they make a visit to the museums and things like that. For many of these questions, data is key, and data is spread everywhere, either at home or on the move, and this aids in decision making for multiple organizations, and transport industry is no exception to this. So our problem is what we are trying to do is we are trying to understand who is traveling where, when, how, plus what type of associations we have with built environment, and the data they can generate has a huge impact on building and modeling a digital twin transport network in relation to built environment and vehicle mobility around space. So in addition to these problems, so transport industry also faces other problems like increased number of traffic, non-recurrent traffic flowing out from in around outside towns and cities or nearby cities. Local authorities and Highway England wanted to track aging assets through automated mechanisms for fixing potholes or missing road markings, or as a predictive maintenance and monitoring. And also there is an increasing fuel cost for for all the civilians, right? So we wanted to optimize the travel cost through multimodal mechanism, and we wanted to reduce number of cars on the road, because there are many cars which are not being used optimally because there are empty spaces. And this leads to climate change. There is increasing public infrastructure. So how do we solve all these problems, right? So basically, so this is where we build a solution. Well, sorry. So this is where we build a solution by integrating data sources through, satellite images, mobile phone cameras, IoT clients running on mobile phones or civilian phones, so they can stream data. So basically, we're building a solution called Accelerator Consortium, which allows to stream data from any locations to solve problem at the edge location. So X2I is a data computing empowered AI, ML, and tech platform which integrates with national network of camera plus citizenship mobile phones to stream data at the edge. And it can link with many data types, like it could be on the car or on the traffic or how crowded a place is. It can identify hazards. And then this can be streamed into the platform through AI. And then the same data can be consumed by various subscribers, data consumers. Say it could be police, it could be hospital, emergency, it could be traffic officers, and things like that, or it could be DFT or local authorities. So all the problem we also build through AI. So all these problems can be solved quite quickly, and by doing so, users are compensated for their time, data they share with share the data with local authorities as well as Highway England. So now the ask is basically, we are seeking a collaboration with local authorities to build our MVP product, which will be around 6 to TRL level 8, 6 to 8 to solve real world problems at the road network. So basically it's a digital twin network. Yeah, so there is a market potential growth is like from 5.31 billion to 7 billion at the moment. And reach out to me if you are interested. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation, Ganesh. We're going to be moving on now to Chris Johns, who will talk a little bit about digital transport signs. Just a reminder, guys, we are running behind, so if you can try and keep to 3 minutes or less, that would be great. Thanks, Chris.
Morning, everybody. I'm Chris, and I am from Passageway, one of the founders, and we have a plan to bring real-time passenger information, or RTPI, to every UK rural bus stop. Now, did you know that 90% of the circa 400,000 UK bus stops are simple flagpoles with a printed timetable, as you can see on the picture in front of you? And in rural areas with reduced infrequent services and sometimes remote stops, the challenge facing authorities is how to economically convert these bus stops into effective demand generators. And numerous studies have shown the importance of real-time passenger information in generating that demand for public transport. But the problem is getting the real-time information to customers. Fewer than 20% of smartphone users have a mobility app, and far fewer use it on a regular basis. And also, you've got to bear in mind that many public transport customers are low digital users or digitally excluded. And budget constraints exclude real-time passenger information screens of all types in many, many scenarios. And lastly, expecting customers to pay for information via return SMS is an unattractive and unworkable proposition. So our solution is simple. Personal digital signs that customers open on their device by scanning a QR code. So if you scan this QR code on the screen in front of you right now, you'll get an idea of what it is that we're proposing. Delivered as auto-updating web pages, the digital signs require no registration, no login, no heavy download, and they display live service information, any disruption notifications, route information, estimated journey times, and onward travel status. But what's more, by delivering the signs as URLs, it means that they can easily be bookmarked or shared with friends or family. But more than this, what we want to do is to distribute digital signs for screens located within the rural community. These would show all the local services plus a map of how to get to them. So these could be in a village post office, a school, a hospital, or community centre or similar sort of location. And we expect that these digital signs would be located on a mix of host supplied, pre-existing host supplied screens, or we're also proposing to deploy new screens in suitable locations based on an ad-supported model. In terms of a trial, what we're looking for is a local authority partner with whom we can deploy a wide-scale trial and also to track results for all the sort of demand and user case. That's it from me, very short presentation. Thank you so much. I look forward to catching up with you afterwards.
That's really useful. Thank you so much for the presentation, Chris. I'm just going to move on now to Betty from OrgConnect to present her slides.
Hello everyone. Just bear me. Sorry, I can't share my screen.
Sorry, Betty, I think Chris has forgotten to click stop sharing. Chris, would you mind removing your sharing screen, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'm Hao from OrgConnect. Our mission at OrgConnect is to provide internet access to remote communities and protect women and girls. Our objectives closely align with the government's levelling up agenda and the 4 pillars innovation strategy to make UK the global hub of innovation by 2035. Improving urban safety is crucial for every pedestrians, especially for women and girls who are often the victims of gender-based violence. The problems we're trying to address includes the poor street lighting, which linked to road accidents, crime, and the gender-based violence globally. And also this report that revealed a significant increase in the local council expenses for street lighting, maintaining, and fixing. And finally, the last mile broadband is difficult to achieve in rural and remote communities due to topography and power constraints. So our solution, called the Polaris, addresses 2 main challenges for pedestrians and motorists, the safety and the connectivity. Polaris is a smart street lighting unit, which can safeguard pedestrians, monitor air quality, and provide internet connectivity in remote communities. Also, Polaris aims to shift the cost of safety and connectivity from the public to a shared model with the private sector. We want to work with 1 or more local councils to demonstrate the impact of our technology during this project. And Polaris will help reduce the local council expenditure, reduce crime, reduce accident, but also improve air quality and the connectivity in rural communities. Thank you. This is a short presentation. That's the end. If you're interested, please reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. That was really, really interesting. As Betty said, please do reach out. I just want to clear up as well some quick confusion in the chat. We only had limited availability for pictures on the main stage, and we assessed these on Wednesday last week based on the responses we received at that stage. There will be plenty of time in the breakout sessions and networking to talk to potential collaborators and share project ideas. So please do stay and involve yourself in those sessions. We're really sorry. We just had a lot of requests. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough haven't enough time to facilitate everyone on the main stage, but plenty of time to present your ideas and share your thoughts in the networking sessions. I'm just going to move on now to Hugh to talk about Hubble.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Hugh Frost of Hubble Logistics and the Cool Run project. Our proposed project, enabling innovation in rural communities, focusing on connectivity and access to goods and services. Hubble is working with project partners to develop a last mile delivery network for parcels and grocery delivery. We're at an advanced stage regarding the hardware and network design and are looking to undertake system trials. Our research indicates that substantial emissions and cost savings can be achieved if a network of micro hubs and freight consolidation depots are placed to support the delivery process. The network will provide added value to customers, both recipients and senders of parcels. We believe there's an excellent opportunity to converge these emerging networks with travel hubs to support passenger transport, especially in rural areas. A network of micro hubs located in small rural communities to enable the convergence of demand response transport and the distribution of parcels and groceries. Each micro hub would consist of physical structure in the heart of a community and the technology to enable secure, efficient drop-off and pickup of goods and people. Multiples of micro hubs within a defined zone would create clusters that are then linked to a main transport corridor or local small town. At this point, people, parcels and grocery deliveries would be consolidated for modal transfer. A dedicated on-demand e-micro freight bus would service these hubs. This bus would prioritize passenger movements with parcels and grocery deliveries during off-peak times or in parallel if capacity allows. The economics of the two revenue streams would enable more regular services across any given day, attracting more users, both passengers and freight, resulting in improved social, environmental, and commercial sustainability. Hubble has developed a modular IoT-enabled transport container called Cool Run and is working with support infrastructure providers. We are now looking for project partners to help develop and trial the concept, including local authorities in rural areas, subnational transport bodies, demand response transport IoT, independent bus service operators, EV charging solution providers. I look forward to talking to you later. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Hugh. Just in response to some of the comments, we do actually have some councils and local authorities presenting, and almost perfect timing. We have Simon up next from Suffolk County Council to share his project idea.
Hi everybody, don't know yet, that's fine, I've appeared now. Suffolk County Council, Simon Barnett, that's me. We have an issue that is common probably throughout rural councils, in that we have a dispersed population but various venues for healthcare services. Our commercial bus network is heavily dependent on home to school movements and doesn't really feel the need for people getting to or from healthcare. There's limited funding for us to support services or community transport to fill those gaps. So yeah, in total, existing provision isn't suitable for staff, patients or visitor transport, and reliance on the private car increases, and those without their own transport struggle to attend appointments. So we all know that lack of access to transport has a negative impact on health and well-being, increases isolation and reliance on social care services, which pushes their budgets up. So we are working to develop a solution coordinated between the NHS, bus companies, community transport providers and others to effectively provide scheduled bus services based on shift or clinic times and demand responsive services for areas with lower population, and also to integrate staff transport in with public travel and clinical needs. So, transporting blood samples from your local health centre to the nearest hospital, but also moving staff around rather than having patients having to travel as far, take the staff to them instead using existing methods, and use of active travel modes, including pedicabs alongside walking and cycling. So what we're seeking is a pedicab pilot. That's the sort of cost that we've estimated so far, and we're just looking at ways we can bring all these elements together into a wider scale multi-year project, but we want to get started with something that should be fairly simple. So if anyone's interested, please come find me in the appropriate breakout room. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you so much for that, Simon. Next, we'll be hearing from Dan from Route Zero. I think we might be experiencing, well, Dan might be experiencing some technical difficulties. Dan, just in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to the next picture, but if you can come back into the platform, then we'll let you pitch again. I think he's lost connection. So we'll just move on now to Barney from Continental Engineering. Barney, for some reason we can't hear you. You aren't on mute technically, but we can't hear you. Unless it's just my system. Yeah, no, we can hear you. Oh,
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, let me go again.
No problem.
Just give me a second. And I'm an algorithms engineer at Continental Engineering Services. So today I'm going to talk to you about the usage of autonomous eVTOLs or drones as an innovative solution to rural transport, with a particular focus on logistics, but with development towards mass public transport systems such as air taxis. So as an electric vehicle, this will have an impact on reducing environmental impacts, as there is no reliance on fossil fuels, and this can improve air quality in rural communities. So at the moment, widespread use of drones will require solutions to current safety and regulatory concerns, particularly with what is known as beyond visual line of sight flight. This is flight when the drone operator can no longer see the drone, and this is with an idea towards autonomous flight. So at Continental, we're primarily a automotive company. So we have now turned our hands to using some of our automotive tech and automotive algorithms to we've turned these to drones. So you can see on the left our automotive radar system. So this is a lightweight radar, and in the middle you can see some of our algorithms that we've developed, such as our safe landing zone algorithm. So this is using radars to make decisions about what parts of what areas of the land is safe for drones to land, with the view for logistics. But also we've looking towards our detect and avoid systems, which you can see in the bottom left here. So this is using radar to be able to spot aerial threats to drones, such as other drones, maybe aircraft, and then animals such as birds. So what we want to do is further develop and validate this technology. So what we've come up with at the moment is an all-in-one payload solution that can be attached to any drone. This includes GPS, IMUs, radars, and cameras. And we're looking for partners such as active eVTOL operators or systems suppliers or local authorities, where we can use our drone kit and our software and then further develop this on their drone systems. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. I don't know if Dan is back yet. So just whilst we're waiting for him, I just want to clear up as well, just very quickly regarding the networking room. So I'm just going to quickly share a quick slide just to provide some guidance to everyone who's got a few questions, as we will go into those in a moment. So just to clarify, these are the themes for the rooms that we'll be having this afternoon and also in a few minutes. So there are 7 rooms that are currently already set up, and you'll be able to move through these freely once we've closed the main stage for the networking sessions. We've got road resilience and safety, sustainable mobility hubs, connecting rural communities, people experience and accessibility, agriculture impact, improving digital infrastructure, logistics, goods and services. These are the 7 kind of rooms that we pulled out from the main challenge themes that I identified earlier, the 5 challenge themes. There is also the option for attendees to create their own custom networking room if they feel that they're either having a conversation in a current room that can be carried on elsewhere, or if they feel there's an area that these themes don't cover. So mainly for those that still want to share their ideas or are still seeking partners that didn't get the chance to present on the main stage today, just join the networking room that has the most relevance to your project idea or the area of interest that you have, and you'll be able to meet like-minded people within that room and hopefully find some potential program collaborators. I'm not sure if we have Dan back yet, but just on that note with the networking rooms as well, just some discussion topics to help make sure that there's time for everyone to be heard. So the first discussion topic would be around understanding what the group's experience or understanding is of the theme. So if there are any local authorities or transport bodies in the group, it's really important that we let them speak first, just because they might be able to outline what specific experience they've had or what their challenges are. And then hopefully that kind of feeds us into the second topic, which is around how we might be able to solve those challenges in an innovative way. And that gives people the opportunity that feel they have project ideas that would be best suited to those experiences and challenges to be able to convey how they would recommend that could be improved or solved through innovation. So that's kind of the aim of the session. The networking sessions. It seems like we've got Dan back now, so I'll let Dan quickly run through his presentation and then we'll begin the networking sessions. Dan, fire away. I think I spoke too soon, unfortunately. Dan, if you can hear me, we'll put you at the first as the first pitch for the afternoon session. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you're just on mute or if you've got some signal issues. So we'll move on now to the networking rooms. As I did say, we are running about 10-15 minutes behind. Dan is here. He won't let me take him off mute, but no worries. We'll try and reconvene for you, Dan, in the next session. We are running a little bit behind, so we were looking to reconvene again in 15 minutes. But if I'm more than happy to allow like an extra 5 or 10 minutes to this session that will cut off the last networking session instead, just so we can have some meaningful conversations. So everybody feel free to go into the tables that make the most sense to them. And once this main stage is closed, you'll be able to see all of those tables outlined in front of you. And thank you for joining us for the first pitching session. We'll see you again just before 12 for the next. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back to the second session of the day. We hope that you had some useful conversations in that first half-hour networking session. Just a reminder as well, you can direct message everyone on the platform. So just click on their name and there should be a little speech bubble. So if there is someone that you'd like to reach out to directly, feel free to direct message them. And you can access all your direct messages just by clicking on the speech bubble in the top right-hand corner of your screen. So for the first pitching session of this afternoon, we're going to hand over to Sammy from Transpix first.
Okay, can you all see me? I guess you all can. So hi everyone, my name is Sammy, I'm a co-founder at Transpix. Today we're going to talk about one aspect of rail transport that's often ignored, which is the safety of passengers.
Hi, Sammy. Sorry to interrupt you. Your microphone is off, so we didn't catch the the first few bits that you were saying there.
Oh, I do apologize.
No worries.
I haven't missed much. So hi, my name is Sammy. I'm co-founder of Transpix. Today I'm going to talk about one aspect of rail transport, which is the safety of passengers. I'm talking specifically about rural stations, which tend to be unstaffed or very lightly staffed. Crime and accidents on the rail network are sort of like, you can look at the stats on the right hand of the page. It's already pretty grim. The causes of these accidents and crimes are common everywhere, but when you add the fact that a lot of these stations are unstaffed or very lightly staffed, this can only make these accidents even more prevalent, and their effect even worse on passengers. The solution we have
Hi, Sammy. Sorry, I think you keep hitting your mouse or something because you've muted yourself again just for the last.
Yeah, so sorry. It just keeps muting itself again.
Sorry.
So, as I was saying, safety in rural stations is pretty bad, and exasperated by the fact that these stations are badly staffed or very lightly staffed. The solution we present here is a video analytics solution that uses AI to analyze video streams from CCTV cameras in real time, detect scenarios which can cause issues, and alert people in real time. We can detect a number of things: people standing in the wrong areas of the platform, people crossing the yellow line, people walking on the tracks. We can count people, we can detect overcrowding, we can detect debris on the track or on the station platform, tripping hazards, people climbing, etc., etc. This is done 24/7 using AI. It's very accurate. It's very cost effective to cover an entire station. Will cost a lot less than employing somebody to do it. And most importantly, it works all the time. Sorry,
Sam.
every time I change slides, it seems to mute me.
Just stay vigilant on your mute symbol, just in case. Sorry.
Yeah, I do apologize. This is a very broken presentation. But the main thing is we want to use our technology deployed to improve the safety of passengers in rural stations. Technology is ready, it's already tested. We have a beta product, is TRL 6. And the biggest issue we have is the procurement chain. The stations are owned by one organization, they're run by another one. The trains that go through it are run by somebody else. It's a complete quagmire, and we would like to cooperate, find our way through that, and implement and propose our solution. Thank you very much. That's me done.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Next, we will have Dan. I think we've managed to get Dan working, which is brilliant. So Dan will be talking to you about Route Zero.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm just sharing my screen. Okay, so my name's Dan Brown. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Route Zero. Route Zero is a climate tech SME, and we improve travel by helping users, including those from rural communities, to choose sustainable journeys with our simple digital tool. Now, these journeys reduce the environmental impact of travel. They help tackle climate change, improve air quality and access to public transport, whilst reducing car dependency and promoting active travel. So we're driving towards a sustainable future. Route Zero makes it easy for a local authority, a rural area, or a transport provider to empower people to find low carbon journeys wherever they need to go. Our vision is to make it as easy to find a sustainable journey as getting your car keys out of your pocket. And by simply plugging a destination into our tool, as this user has done here in rural Oxfordshire, we calculate the time, cost, and carbon associated with all the ways to get to that destination. So you can choose and book a sustainable trip in a snap, one that's clean, but also cost effective. And we prove the decarbonisation effect across a rural area using data and climate science. We use the DEFRA emissions methodology for our emissions calculations, and existing example customers include UK central government, who deployed the tool to 8,000 civil servants across rural and urban areas. And we also provide the tool to large university estates. In fact, we bring all of the tools required to help an organisation deliver a sustainable outcome. And one example is our social media tools, which help a community, which help your community sustainability leaders to amplify their efforts. And this is one of the most effective ways to influence other people to see how someone successfully decarbonise their travel and follow their lead. And it's these aggregate reductions which add up to a significant impact. And travel and transport is the UK's largest source of emissions, so it's a great opportunity for us. And we've delivered 26% emission reduction with existing customers. As you can see, there's a link at the bottom of the screen. You're welcome to try out our free consumer version. It lacks some of the advanced features, but gives you a feel for the tool. And we're looking for partners such as local authorities who want to offer decarbonised travel information to their people to take a step on the journey to reducing their largest source of emissions. I'd be delighted to meet any of you offline or in the breakout areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. That was really, really interesting. I'm glad we managed to get your connection working. Just going to move on now to Steve to talk about smart technology.
So good afternoon. My name is Steve Pearson from Smart Technology. We are a multi-award winning company that develops a lot of clever systems used by local authorities, utility companies, train operators, and people with disabilities. And today I'd like to introduce you to SmartBus. SmartBus is the latest real-time information system for urban and rural bus stops that provides scheduled and real-time information on the next 5 buses arriving at a bus stop. The system is perfect for rural bus stops as it doesn't require any external power supply to operate, as it has its own built-in power supply with a 10-year battery that is replaceable. The information displayed on the SmartBus app, which is free to download on Android and iOS. The control unit is a small, discrete box that's easily mounted on a bus stop, and the system's fully inclusive, unlike the visual display signs fitted at some bus stops. Why is it fully inclusive? Well, SmartBus, as well as providing the information visually via the SmartBus app, also provides audio reading of the information, which means that people with visual impairments and people with dyslexia or learning difficulties can also get the information as it's read out to them. Visual display signs are exclusive because they don't have that feature. The app displays the person's location on a Google Maps until they arrive at the bus stop, where it announces the name of the bus stop and displays the local authority's logo or a business logo if the stop is sponsored by a business. A button in the top right-hand corner takes the user to the news page for the local authority or any other URL designed to provide information that the LA may want users to know. We're going to be including a panic button in the bottom left corner of the screen to protect vulnerable users as an added safety feature that alerts a designated recipient that they have a problem and require help when pressed and held. The recipient is telephoned and a text message is sent giving the Google Maps location of the person in trouble. Unlike the real-time information display units, which can cost between £8,000 to £15,000 per bus stop to install, the Smart Bus system costs £150 per bus stop, with an annual data fee of £20 per year, which when you amortise the costs over the 10 years of the battery life, works out at £35 per year per bus stop. We're looking to form a consortium with local authorities and bus operator companies who would like to assist with the development of the system to make it the best system available and trial the units at no cost themselves in their area. The system is already in operation around the UK in different areas. And if you've got any questions, then I'll be in the People, Experience and Accessibility Networking Lounge. So please come along and we can have a chat and I can demonstrate the system in operation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation, Steve. I'm going to see if Christian has managed to get into the platform. I know we were having some issues with connection. Christian, are you able to take yourself off of mute? I think we might still be experiencing some technical issues with Christian. So in which case I'll move on to the next speaker. We've got Andre from Moonbility.
Hello everyone, give me a sec. All right, hope you can see the PDF okay. So, hello everyone again, my name is Andre Wang, I'm co-founder and CEO of Moonbility. Moonbility is an in the UK funded company specializing in stimulating and visualizing passenger impact of asset failures, particularly for public transport. We also help optimize passenger flows. So our use cases ranging from the prediction of train delay propagation caused by a range of different types of assets, say overhead line equipment of the railway, signals to real-time availability of buggy areas on local buses as well. In essence, we help transport operators make sense of their massive textual and CCTV data through human-ready visualization. As a team, we make passenger first as our main priority. The project idea we are proposing today is to address the problem that disruptive information has not been passed across transport modes, which leaves passengers out of blue when a disruption occurs. So journeys involving rural areas usually take more than one transport mode to be completed. For example, a passenger may take a train first and then transfer to a coach and then finally jump into a cab or private car to get to the destination. These services are usually booked through different apps or websites and communicate with passengers separately. When the passenger is on the journey and an unexpected disruption just occurs for their next connecting service, passengers won't be able to react to that easily. Customer support is not always best at answering calls when an urgent event happens. So I'm saying that because this is actually a problem I experienced myself when traveling from the Coventry to the north. So we're proposing a solution to allow passengers of rural areas to access real-time connecting information for their cross-mode journeys. If there is an unexpected disruption taking place, an alternative journey planner will be provided so the passenger know where to go next. No one will again be left somewhere in nowhere making a phone call to customer support on a windy night with the heavy luggages. The initial thought about this scope would cover trains, coaches, and local private cab providers, interface-wise, potentially operator-facing website, a passenger-facing app, or just an API for integration. So that's our problem solution. If you are from a local authority or a national transport body that is interested in exploring this idea, please feel free to reach out. And again, our team's expertise is passenger impact analysis and visualization. If you have a project idea in mind that can benefit from these, I'd be happy to chat with you too. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Andre. Just going to hear now from Liz from Silverdale Parish Council. Liz, whenever you're ready.
Hello, I'm Liz Unsworth, Councillor for Silverdale Parish Council. Silverdale is a dispersed rural village of around 1,500 residents on Morecambe Bay, at the border of Lancashire and Cumbria. It is within the 30-mile square Arnside and Silverdale National Landscape, previously AONB, and includes large areas of National Trust land, RSPB Leighton Moss, one of RSPB's top 3 performing sites, with around 90,000 visitors a year, and other landowners. Silverdale is a popular and growing tourist destination, and visitor numbers are due to increase significantly when Eden Project Morecambe opens in 2026, and that will expect about 700,000 visitors a year, and when the Silverdale section of the King Charles III England Coast Path is complete. But we have a big problem. Silverdale Railway Station is 1 mile from the village centre and almost 2 miles to the further side of the village. We have a bus which does not run before 7 in the morning, not after 8 at night, and not at all on Sundays. But most importantly, the bus does not meet train arrivals and departures at the station. There used to be a shuttle bus from the station to the village, which a lot of people used, but it was discontinued by the county council. And now most residents and visitors do not use public transport, they use their own cars, and numbers using the station are falling. There are no EV charging points in the village, and research is showing electric car users are avoiding tourist areas without facilities. It's our economy here. Silverdale's annual carbon emission for travel is 3,937 tonnes. That's 5.6 tonnes per household, compared to the national average of 3.1 tonnes. So Silverdale Parish Council is working with National Trust, RSPB, and the National Landscape Area to create a viable green transport hub at RSPB Leighton Moss, or at the station. RSPB has plans to expand its visitor centre and facilities, which will include EV charge points, and with its proximity to the station and bus stop, feels that this consortium event is a huge opportunity waiting to be explored, as does national landscape. And we understand that publicity and marketing is key in changing the habits and behaviour of our target users. So Google Silverdale and seriously consider Silverdale as a location for a sustainable rural transport accelerator project that substantially reduces our carbon emissions and takes residents and visitors where they want to go and when. Silverdale ticks all the boxes regarding the DfT's strategic priorities and focus of this programme. If you have any questions, my fellow councillors Keith Reid and Tony Horton are attending as well, and I will be in the Connecting Rural Communities breakout lounge. Thank you for listening, and thank you to DfT and Catapult for the opportunity to put our case. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Liz. That was an absolutely fantastic presentation. I think it resonated with a lot of people here. So hopefully we are able to find you some partners that can help achieve those dreams that you have for Silverdale. Next up on the stage, we have Veronica from Diagonal.
Hello everyone. So let me just find my slides. Okay, great. Hi, I'm Veronica. I work for Diagonal. Diagonal is a geospatial data science consultancy even. So we're a startup. This is us, plus a couple of friendly pals working on the side. So we're a multidisciplinary team, ranging from engineering through to kind of product and product design, data science, and myself. So I'm a planner by background. So not particularly tech heavy in my profession. So in terms of what we do, so we specialize in complex geospatial analysis, powered by our geospatial engine. So we spend the first couple of years of since we were set up, building our own bespoke geospatial engine, which allows for super fast data computation. And the tools we designed are aimed at anyone working or with an interest in the built environment who is keen to take a data-driven approach to their work. And we hope that our tools can also support more transparent and equitable decision-making by enabling interactive data exploration, by taking it out of the kind of like highly technical field and enabling anyone to interact with place-based data. So just to give you an idea of what the tools we built look like. So all the tools we built are built on top of this geospatial engine, which is open source, by the way. So if anybody is really interested in GIS and geospatial technologies, feel free to drop me a message and I can direct you to the documentation. But I'm more here to talk to you about the potential UIs we can build. So this is an example of the sorts of UIs we built, sort of web apps we built with our engine. So on one side, you've got an example of a UI which is designed to help the user in understanding the trade-offs of different design options. So in this case, the options are the introduction of more access points into pedestrian and biodiversity corridor, and the trade-offs are against a number of parameters set with the client. And then on the other side, this is an example of a UI which has been co-created with a few Scottish local authorities, as well as Manchester City Council, as part of the CIFTech Scotland process, which some of you might be aware of. And this was designed to be a place baseline assessment tool to inform decision-making and place-based investment. And what this UI is designed to help the user test is accessibility at a building level to local services and facilities, looking at different distances, different modes of transport. And the categories that you probably can't read here are kind of like a flavor of the data we can work with. But by default, we like to work with open data. Our kind of base maps we use is OpenStreetMap, but we can also work with Ordnance Survey data, and we can work with any sort of data. We just like to work with open data because it makes our analysis kind of repeatable, scalable, and then it builds trust as well in terms of stakeholder engagement and getting communities involved. So the challenge which we feel our tooling and our interests better responds to is around enabling innovation in rural mobility. I'd say these are just some thoughts. Really, what we like to do is co-create our solutions with the user. So this is thinking, a lot of this comes actually from discussions with some of the rural Scottish authorities we've worked with in the past year. But what we would put forward is a data-driven but holistic approach to challenge, appreciating that technology only offers part of the solution. But what our tooling could support in doing is identifying gaps in accessibility across the defined area, including safe pedestrian routes or even pedestrian paths and cycle paths, identifying areas where perhaps distances are a bit too long to consider a modal shift, and so it might be interesting to bring in e-bike or e-scooter schemes, and identifying areas where there's a lack in service provision and where a solution might include looking at collectively shared mobile resources or hubs like some of the people I know in the chat are kind of like focusing on as a business model. These are some thoughts. We're super open to kind of discussions. We're open to ideas, and there's probably more we could do to this. But yeah, you've got our website at the bottom of the slide and my details, so do drop me a line if you'd like to discuss this further. And we're looking for local authorities or transport bodies to collaborate on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I had a little bit of lag on my system there. Thanks for the presentation. We're just going to introduce Tom now to talk about wind races.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas Brunt. I'm Chief Test Pilot at Wind Races, and I wanted to talk to you today about our uncrewed aircraft and the capabilities that it can bring. So we've designed a large fixed-wing aircraft equipped with a very advanced autopilot, which is capable of autonomous end-to-end flight. The platform is designed primarily for humanitarian aid distribution and mail and cargo deliveries over the middle mile. Our payload capability of 100 kilos over a range of 1,000 kilometers allows us to reach remote locations with a meaningful delivery. Our aircraft is designed for robustness, reliability, and cost effectiveness. Based on this, we have chosen to build a twin-engine aircraft with redundancy on the propulsion, built primarily from readily available materials, including aluminium, and developed our patented triple redundant autopilot, capable of operating with no single point of failure. This technology has been trialed several times over sustained periods and is now a proven robust system. This includes previous trials, including a trial in 2020 where we flew medical PPE from Lyon-Solent to the Isle of Wight, and 2 postal logistics projects funded by Innovate UK and with support from Royal Mail Group, visiting the first the Scilly Isles and then later some of the Northern Isles in Scotland and the Orkneys. And then further trips back to the Orkneys and the Shetland Isles in Scotland, and that will be carrying on over the next few years. Our most recent achievement is to have flown just this month in Antarctica. So while the system has been flown and tested in the real world using real use cases, we have experienced some difficulties, including some sort of difficulties on routes where we are required to land at the other end, because not all airfields that we're visiting or not all places that we're visiting have convenient airfields that we can access. And our solution to that is a payload dropping system that's capable of deploying payloads from the air. And this system has been developed and flight tested and is now ready for trial operations in the UK. And to this end, we're seeking partners to demonstrate the capability in real world use case, where we can bring an immediate impact into communities. We'd also like to, apart from that, we'd like to develop payload delivery systems So whether that's parachute systems or nets which can catch the payloads after they've landed. So just innovative ideas that we can use to sort of progress that and move that to the next stage, make sure that we can deliver any kind of payloads from the air, including hopefully dangerous goods. And certainly this certainly could fulfill a range of use cases from immediate medical deliveries to daily post audits. So we'd like to sort of propose that to people and see what interest is coming back on in terms of what that capability could offer. Thank you. That's me done.
Thank you so much for that, Tom. That was really, really interesting. And just our final pitch for the day, I'm going to hand over now to Aaron to talk about Vohonomy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Arun Gopinath, the CEO and co-founder of Vohonomy. The problem we are addressing relates to the challenges in the electric vehicle charging infrastructure for rural and remote areas. It can especially be challenging for the needs of medium and heavy-duty vehicles in these locations, as these vehicles have special requirements regarding access, height, width, weight restrictions, and charging speeds. This, combined with limited interest from private charge point operators in rural electric vehicle charging infrastructure, makes it difficult to transition to net zero for rural transport operators, local authority services like waste or bin collection, gritting, road maintenance, community transport, critical and essential services like ambulance, fire and rescue, police, mail and deliveries, the agricultural sector, and local communities. We will do this through a booking tool and API to optimize the availability of publicly owned electric vehicle charging infrastructure. It will facilitate a fixed and tiered availability for rural EVCI based on pre-agreed yet flexible priorities on weightage based on a matrix, so that the charging infrastructure is shared and made available to transport operators, local authorities, critical essential public services, agriculture sector, and local communities. We will do this by enhancing capabilities on a marketplace for the electric vehicle charging infrastructure ecosystem, charger.io. The tool or API will allow local partners to allow weightage based on local priorities. This will ensure that public funding for electric vehicle charging infrastructure in rural areas is optimized, while also making it attractive for private charge point operators to set up infrastructure in partnership with local authorities. This meets program challenges 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, as it builds resilience to the road infrastructure, allows for optimization of local authority-led EV charging infrastructure through sharing of infrastructure that supports the rural transport network, thereby reducing isolation, supports the agricultural infrastructure needs, and supports the needs of local communities and seasonal visitors. An added benefit to this is that micro-mobility and active travel hubs can be added onto it, and it also builds the resilience of the local infrastructure. Perth and Kinross Council in Scotland, which has a large area, rural areas, and which has large areas which are rural and remote, are interested and supportive in our proposal. Our idea is in line with the EV infrastructure, with their EV infrastructure strategy and vision. We welcome interest from other local authorities in rural and remote service areas who will benefit from our proposal. And we are open to suggestions and ideas on how our offering can be customized. Please contact me, and I look forward to speaking with you as well. Thank you, and thank you, Catapult, for this opportunity.